and the customer service rep says, "I'm sorry, the computer won't let me change it." How many of you have ever had that happen to you? Raise your hands. Ooh, we have a lot of honest people in the room. It happened to me more than once. The computer says no. So, if you look at that example, there is in it, now obviously what happens here is that the structure is man-made, and man can change it. But when they don't change it, then you ask, why don't they change it? Because they know the computer says no. Why can't they change it so that the computer, or that the person operating the computer can adjust the problem? So this is a very important example of what I'm talking about. And here we have the outsourcing problem also. By the way, just because you outsource a call center to, let's say, Manila or someplace, or Mumbai, doesn't mean that the service is going to be worse. It really doesn't. I know I've had personal experience from my bank, having customer service reps from those. I always ask, "Excuse me, where are you?" And they're very honest. They say, "I'm in Manila," or "I'm in, in Bangalore," or something like that. But there are not. That's not why they pick them. They don't pick them because they're good. They pick them because they're cheaper. And so that's the independent variable here. That is always the independent variable. And with customer service, it really shouldn't be. Now, this last one, although it's an old chestnut, it's receiving new life from the stratification which is now growing in the consumer marketplace. When a company acts like it's telling you you get what you pay for, what they're saying is, we are going to make you pay for things you never had to pay for before. And so, if you have the wherewithal to pay for it, fine. If not, you get what you pay for. So the attitude on the part of the service provider is changing. And we all notice it. We may not everyone notices it immediately, but eventually everybody gets it. One little thing I'd like to, one little point I'd like to make concerning the religious reliance on technology. I saw this lovely little column in the New York Times, "Me and My Algorithm." How many of you have noticed this? "Me and My Algorithm," the author, Seth Freeman, says, "Algorithms, as you probably know, are the computer programs that infer from your profile, Facebook or whatever, and from the content of your emails, Gmail or whatever, your interests and preferences, enabling ads to be displayed to the customers most likely to be interested in specific products. This feature is prized by advertisers and accounts for the multi-billion-dollar value of the most successful web networks." So he goes into these various algorithms. He says, "The algorithms are programmed, I believe, to get to know us better over time, and rather than resent the invasion of privacy, I've come to feel a grudging respect for and even a growing sense of intimacy with my own personal algorithm. You have to admire, for example, the inventive audacity of a program that would read an email someone sent me about Holocaust deniers and think that I might be shopping for a holistic dentist. And when I conceded in an email that something was cheeky of me, I found it rather endearing that the algorithm tried to sell me a new razor from Gillette. I had a similar reaction when a reference to the fine actor Christopher Plummer produced, 'Get a plumbing quote now, find a local plumber.'" Okay, we will talk a little more about the robotification of communication later, but algorithms are very much a part of our life these days. We depend on them too. But the point is that we're still not at the stage where the robot can think the way we do, and so make mistakes. Okay, the past strikes back. What do I mean by this? First of all, we've gotten to a stage where you can have mass customization, where in many types of goods and services you can customize. You can have shorter production runs, which is a service to the customer. You can make it what the customer wants. But despite this new capability in many areas of production, we have had a sort of throwback to two early command and control scenarios. Command and control, of course, we're talking about what used to be called Fordism after Henry Ford. Mass production, producing many things very efficiently, and therefore producing each one more cheaply, and therefore being able to give them to people at a lower price. So this mass production model of one size fits all, because it leads to increases in productivity, it is being applied increasingly in the area of customer service. That's one end of the continuum. So people are being treated very much the same. I remember when a few years back, so it's really an old example, and I wanted an aisle seat, and I was talking to a representative, it was actually a real voice, from an airline, and she said, oh, everybody wants an aisle seat. You know, the implication being that, who do you think you are? You want an aisle seat. If you fly on some airlines whose names will go unmentioned, I'm sure you've had flight attendants who treat you that way. How many have had a flight attendant treat them that way? Raise your hand. Oh, they're all afraid. Oh, I see. There are two brave people in that. Okay. So the mass production model is one thing that's being reborn, but at the same time, we have this bifurcation of the consuming public. There is a growing gap. We are returning, in some sense, to the situation we had in the mid-19th century before the great industrial push that created the middle class as we know it, where you'll have a small segment of the population that really can afford more or less what they want, and you have many, many people, among whom many are downwardly mobile middle class people, who can not afford. There was an article just in this issue of The Atlantic called The Rise of the New Global Elite, which addressed this problem from a much more, if I may say so, global perspective, but it was still the same problem. What we are seeing is not a single economy at all, but rather fundamentally separate types of economy, increasingly distinct and divergent. The widening gap between rich and non-rich has been evident for years. In a 2005 report to investors, for instance, three analysts